Yo, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to be speaking about the recent balance changes. So guys, the balance changes have officially dropped in the game, and they aren't the same from the work in progress balance changes, obviously because the work in progress balance changes are just a set of balance changes that we get, and we give feedback, and then they decide how they want to proceed with the balance changes. And in the balance changes, I'm just going to be talking about them a bit. And first of all, Musketeer buff. Musketeer has gotten a buff to the hit speed. It has been buffed by 0.1 from 0.8 to 0.7, so the Musketeer's first hit is going to be a little bit quicker. Honestly, I agree with that, not because I think the Musketeer was weak, but I do think that the the Three Musketeers were very, very weak, and I feel like the Three Musketeers have needed some love for a very long time now, and the Three Musketeers have been kind of an afterthought for, I would say, a few years now, so I'm pretty excited to see if the Three Musketeers actually end up finally returning to the meta. I feel like it's been so long since I played against Three Musketeers, man. And I remember one time I lost against Three Musketeers, and I was just embarrassed, man, just knowing how long they've been out of the game for and how they aren't really too great anymore. So seeing a buff to the Musketeer, definitely agree with that. Very, very nice change, I would say. Also, Evo Snowball is getting a buff, and I'm not too sure how I feel about this one. I mean, Evo Snowball was a very underused evolution, but I feel like we shouldn't really be buffing evolutions too much as of right now because, you know, evolutions are just balanced or strong cards with an extra buff to them. So I feel like we should be focusing on buffing the regular cards like Three Musketeers like we did, you know, maybe the Barbarian Hut, Goblin Hut, Skeleton Barrel, and stuff like that. But to be honest, not really too much complaints because it is one of the weaker evolutions, I would say. Oh, whoops. Not the greatest defense right there, but it's all right. We're more focused on yapping right now. So, overall, I'm pretty happy with this, and for the final buff, we did get a buff to the Fire Spirit, and the Fire Spirit was more of just a quality of life buff than anything, just making it consistent with the Heal Spirit, Electro Spirit, and the Ice Spirit. Fire Spirit was the only spirit in the game that didn't have a jump speed of 2.5, so now it will jump from a bit further away. One of the main interactions changing was that if you would go for a Fire Spirit to defend a bowler, then the Fire Spirit wouldn't actually jump on top of the bowler and it would just end up dying. So just gonna make the Fire Spirit a tiny bit better, and I would say that's okay. I mean, just making the spirits be a bit more consistent is cool in my opinion. There was no reason for them to be any different, I would say, so I'm very satisfied with that, to be honest. Very happy with how the buffs are looking. Great defense as well. I'll get into the nerfs after this match. Very nice win. I'll see you guys in the next match and start talking about some of the nerfs and how I feel about the nerfs in the balance changes and what changed. With the next set of balances that we're going to be speaking about, it is going to be the Goblinstein. I feel like Goblinstein has been the most controversial card in Clash Royale since, I would say, its release in the October season. Goblinstein is going to be getting an 8% nerf to the Stein monster, so the big guy, the big fat guy that never dies, he is going to be losing 8% of its HP, previously changed from -4%, now to -8%. I'm very satisfied with that, to be honest. I feel like Goblinstein may still be on the stronger, and I'm not 100% sure about that, but I am very, very glad, and I am in a huge agreement that it did need a massive nerf, because it has been dominating the game for far, far too long now, and I am so pleased to be seeing that it get a nerf, but not only is it getting a nerf, it's getting a bigger nerf than the one that was already proposed, which is just going to be so, so nice for the game, to be honest, because I feel like I speak for everyone when I say that we are sick of facing Goblinstein over and over again. 10 out of 10 change there. And another balance that we're going to be speaking about is going to be the nerf to the Evolved Dark Goblin. Evolved Dark Goblin and the regular Dark Goblin are both getting nerfed. The Evolved Dark Goblin and the Dark Goblin are just doing less damage from their previous form. Gonna be a -5% damage nerf. And honestly, I feel like this was one of the ones where a lot of people were in agreement and disagreement on. Personally, I believe that the Dark Goblin has been far too strong for a while, and with the introduction of the Evo Dark Goblin, there was no need to keep the Dark Goblin as strong as it was, because now it has the Evo with the Poisonous Trail effect, and I do feel like that the Dark Goblin did get a deserved nerf. It didn't really get too much of a nerf. I mean, it still one-shots Spear Goblin, so I think it's okay. Like, it got a big buff back, I want to say in the summertime, and now since a bit of it got reverted, I would say Dark Goblin should be in a more balanced and a bit of a better state. I feel like these balance changes are super good, and another balancing that I want to be talking about is the Rune Giant. You guys probably do know, though, that the Rune Giant is actually nerfed already. It was nerfed literally months ago, but it just came in early because it just tremendously needed one. Ironically enough, we are actually against the Rune Giant right now, which is pretty funny, but Rune Giant got nerfed a long time ago. You guys are already aware of that balance change. I already made a video on that one separately. You guys can check it out if you would like, but no complaints there, of course. Rune Giant was dominating the game like crazy, and it got a very, very quick emergency nerf, which I was surprised to see, honestly. I really thought that they were going to let the Rune Giant dominate the game for a bunch of time, but they actually reacted very quickly, which I was pleased to see, to be honest. Also, another big nerf that they are doing is they are going to be nerfing the Evolved Goblin Giant. Evolved Goblin Giant's spawn rate of the goblins is going to be a lot lower, which is great. That's actually the nerf that I suggested. I felt like the Evo Goblin Giant was spawning new goblins way too quickly, and it was making it way too hard to defend, forcing out way too many spells. If you didn't have like a crazy nice splasher like a Valkyrie or something like that, it was nearly impossible to defend against the Evo Goblin Giant. Also had a bit too much HP, so I feel like there was a lot of things that they could have nerfed about it, but I am happy with what they nerfed about it. Kind of finally, I feel like it's been too strong for a while, and it's been underrated for a very long time, and I think it actually ended up getting buffed while being too strong, in my opinion, so just goes to show how underrated the Evo Goblin Giant actually was for quite a long time. I do feel like that's one of the bigger issues with evolutions, is that there's only like 3 or 4 that stand out at a time, and I feel like a lot of them do need nerfs at one given moment, so I feel like it's good that the Evo Goblin Giant was finally realized, and it is finally getting that big nerf that I feel like a lot of people thought it needed. And Goblin Giant's big brother is P.E.K.K.A. Evo P.E.K.K.A. is actually getting a nerf, and, well, not even the Evo P.E.K.K.A., but also the regular P.E.K.K.A., just like the Dark Goblin. And it actually wasn't in the first set of balance changes, so you guys might be a little bit surprised to hear about that, but oh no, the Evo Lumberjack, man. Oh my god, what is happening? It's not dying. But as you guys probably know, the P.E.K.K.A. wasn't in the original work in progress balance changes, and that was probably the most controversial thing I have seen in this game in a very long time. But it actually did get added, which is extremely nice. I am so happy about that, man. I was actually so disappointed that there wasn't a nerf to the P.E.K.K.A., but there actually is a nerf to the P.E.K.K.A. The P.E.K.K.A. is getting a reduction in its range, which I believe that is the buff that made it too good in the first place. So very solid change there. Massive W from Supercell on this one, man. Like, their balance changes have cooked, in my opinion. Like, with all the changes I've said so far, you guys definitely can't disagree with me on how good these balance changes actually were. I feel like there has been no misses so far in everything that I've said, which is a very rare feat for Supercell, man. Like, when does Supercell ever get it right, man? I feel like that's, like, what they're known for, is never, ever getting it right, which is kind of funny, but... Oh, we just got cooked by the Evil Lumberjack. Nice, but... I guess that needs to be added to their upcoming balance changes. But very nice change with the P.E.K.K.A. And also, with the next balance change we are going to be talking about, it is going to be the Royal Chef. Royal Chef has been completely dominating the game for an extremely long time. Ever since it came out, it has been the staple for beatdown decks. I feel like it was making the game a lot more no-skill overall, and people have been begging for it to get nerfed. Pairing extremely well, specifically in the Lava Hound and the P.E.K.K.A. Goblin Giant decks, or just P.E.K.K.A. decks in general. Mainly the beatdown, I guess, Electro Giant and Golem, it was very solid in as well, but mainly P.E.K.K.A., Goblin Giant, and Lava Hound. So now that it has gotten a pretty nice nerf, I feel like the Royal Chef won't really be used too much anymore. There's actually so many nerfs that it got that I don't even know where to start. It got a nerf to the cooking time, so it takes longer to actually cook up the level up pancake, and then it also upgrades from less HP. So before, it would upgrade a card if they were above 25% HP, but now it will only upgrade units if they were above 33% HP. So very big nerf there, and it also takes longer for the chef to cook once you lose one tower. So just a lot of cookie nerfs, and then just one nerf to the like ability to be able to cook cards as well, which is very nice. I feel like they did a very good job on the nerf to the Royal Chef as well. I do think that it needed to come much sooner, but, you know, better late than never is the saying that people like to say, so I'm happy about it in general. Honestly, guys, I would say this is a 10 out of 10 balanced patch. One thing that I did forget, though, was that Lava Hound. Lava Hound was nerfed, and I was in a bit of a weird position about the nerf to the Lava Hound, because Lava Hound has been on top of the game for, I would say, like 3 years now. Every single season, there's, you know, 2 to 4, maybe even 5 Lava Hound players finishing in the top 10 of ladder every single season. And that is recipe for this needs a nerf, but not only a nerf, it needs a really big nerf. But I feel like they went about it the wrong way. I didn't think that the Lava Hound needed a nerf specifically. I think that the cards around Lava Hound needed a nerf, mainly the Royal Chef, but also the Evo Valkyrie. But there is no Evo Valkyrie nerf on this change. But I do think that Lava Hound was kind of innocent in this, because Lava Hound doing, you know, 77 damage on the tower or 55 damage on the tower. I don't think that will really change too much in your push. So I do very like that they took the Lava Hound out of the balance changes and just replaced it with a very nice Royal Chef nerf instead. Definitely a very huge W from Supercell, I would say. To be honest, Supercell's taking too many Ws, man. That's why they had to add the broken evolved Lumberjack into the game. It just checks out, man. It just checks out with their recipe for, like, a fetish of completely broken, undefendable units. I guess we get a decent defense here, but if he has a Rage Spell again, we're going to lose our entire tower. Do we lose it? Okay, barely save our tower. I'm just hoping he doesn't have a Lightning or anything like that, or else our tower will also be taken out here. Okay, let's just Ice Spirit here, then we can go for the cannon. Okay, let's Goblinstein Skeletons. As you guys can see, Goblinstein is still alright, I guess. I've been using it a bit because I feel like Goblinstein was the one I was most interested in. I guess it's okay, but definitely a very solid nerf and very noticeable to the card. I do think it's much worse, and maybe we'll have more options in mini tanks. One thing that I did forget to note about the balance changes, guys, is that Musketeer was supposed to get a bigger proposed buff, but the buff did get toned down just a little bit due to community feedback. It was supposed to be 0.6 hit speed, but it is 0.7, like I said before, but I just wanted to clarify that there was supposed to be a little bit of a bigger buff to the Musketeer, but I just wanted there to remain full transparency behind the balance changes. So that does conclude the final balance changes. I mean, my final thoughts are that the balance changes were literally perfect. There is nothing that I would change about these balance changes. And what I mean by that is that they were perfect in the sense of, like, they didn't buff any wrong card, and I feel like they didn't nerf any wrong card either. But the thing that I would change is, you know, maybe I would add a card or two, but I'm not going to really talk about my own personal wish list. I'm just going to say that these balance changes were amazing. Probably the best balance changes that we've seen in years, and I'm very happy with Supercell and how it worked. I feel like they did a really poor job balancing the game in the previous season, so I'm really glad that they were able to redeem themselves this month and, you know, bring the best balance changes that we've seen in probably years. I know there was also another really good patch, but then the addition of Rune Giant kind of ruined their really, really good balance change patch, so I would consider that as a really bad balance change patch. And I mean, you know, maybe the Evo Lumberjack could ruin this balance change patch as well, but we're just going to have to see. But as of right now, you know, I really, really do like what they did with the balance changes this season, and I do feel like that they definitely did a very good job of listening to community feedback, and I would rate them, you know, a 10 out of 10 personally. I really do like them. They did a very good job at toning down all the broken stuff, and then also doing a good job at, you know, trying to bring back some new cards into the meta, which is a very important aspect of balance changing too. You know, you can't just always nerf everything. You need to also buff cards that nobody is playing, because at the end of the day, like, those are the cards that people are going to have fun playing, you know, those strong cards. So you still need to have good cards in the game, but they just can't be, you know, overly unfair and completely game-breaking, I would say. But since I'm done talking about the balance changes, I guess I'll finish off this match here. Beautiful Evo Musketeer value right there as well, just showing how strong the new Musketeer actually is now. We can go for the Lumberjack plus Hog Rider here. I know he's going to go for a Lava. Yeah, there's the Lava Hound, man. Okay, nice Evo Valkyrie by him, but that Valkyrie is actually going to get taken out immediately. Let me just Ice Golem the bridge here and go for an Evo Lumberjack as well. This Evo Lumberjack is actually undefendable, and that Musketeer should take out the entire Lava pretty much. Yeah, that is going to be tower down on the left side lane. He knows it too. I could even try to 3-crown him potentially with the Evo Lumberjack, because the Evo Lumberjack is so crazy. If I just rage that, once it dies, it will actually stay spawned on the tower. I'm pretty sure you guys saw that in my previous game. 1, 2, 3. Let's rage it again so we can get the Lumberjack, stay on the tower, and oh, he didn't get 3-crown because he did that really nice zap. I actually didn't expect that zap coming up from him, so that was well played. But yeah, he's already goblin laughing because he nearly got 3-crowned. Okay, let's just go for the Rage and Earthquake. And very nice win. So I guess I'm just going to end off the video by saying nerf Evo Lumberjack. And thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. I love you guys. And comment down below what you think about the balance changes too. Peace out, guys.